Stress, anxiety, and fear are the number one reason why people are depressed right now. Depression is at all-time high, especially after the pandemic, because we've been locked in our homes. We're stressed out about what's going to happen in the future. We're stressed out about our jobs. We're stressed out about our lives. But see, that's nothing new, because the second leading cause of death among men and women from 15 years old to 29 years old is depression. But men die 3 times faster in depression than women, because men are more prone to suicide. 1 out of 10 men experience depression and anxiety. And only few reach out for help. That's the reason that suicide is a leading cause for men right now in depression. We feel guilty and we feel shame, and society has told us that we're supposed to be strong men, but every time that we feel depressed, every time that we feel anxiety, we feel weak. 49% of men are more depressed than they're willing to admit. So rather than get help, they pretend that everything is fine. They pretend that they don't have depression, they don't have anxiety. See, that's the number one reason why men are losing the edge. They feel they don't have a purpose. They're full of uncertainty. They're full of anxiety. And see, my mission has been for the last decade to find out what gives a man the edge. How can we overcome depression? How can we overcome that anxiety that hunts us, is the silent killer that we experience on a daily basis? Men who have an edge could conquer depression. Men who live on the edge are not afraid to go into the darkness. And that's the reason that my mission has been to help men discover what gives them the edge, so they could conquer that depression, so they could conquer that anxiety, so they could realize that every single day is not weakness, but a strength to fight through your emotions. See, I lost my edge and I fell into depression. I had some deep pain in my body at one point that I didn't know it was stress. I thought at one point I had cancer, and I saw doctors, I saw specialists, and every single one told me, Raul, it's in your head. You're going through stress. But at that time, I was running a successful business, had a great marriage, had beautiful kids, had nothing to be depressed about. But at the same time, I couldn't sleep at night. And that deep feeling of uncertainty was constantly giving me the pain in my world, in my health, in my body. So I did what most men do. I drank my way out of depression. I tried to pretend that I didn't have the pain, so I took a shot of tequila to numb the pain, and one shot became 2, and 2 became 3, and eventually every single night I will need half a bottle of tequila to numb that pain. It wasn't until one day I woke up and my son was standing right in front of me. And I realized that I couldn't live this way. Even though I had successful practice and I will put on my suit and I will go to the office and everybody said, you know, Raul is successful, he has his life together, nobody knew what I was really going through inside. Nobody knew what the dark and depression that I was in. And because we're afraid to ask for help, because we're afraid to seek help, we continue to sedate that pain. So why was I in pain? What I found through my journey is that we all go through this tunnel in life. The moment that we go through this tunnel, this dark tunnel, that's the moment that we have the choice to create ourselves. So you will say, Raul, you went through a midlife crisis. You went through a depression, but the reality is that I don't believe there's a midlife crisis. I believe there's a rite of passage. What I found through my journey is that men go through stages. And we speak very little of this because we don't have people to guide us through the stages. See, back in the days when we lived in tribes, if you wanted to become a leader, all you have to do is go out there to the wilderness, kill the wolf, and come back because you were worthy to be a leader. Nowadays, nobody's preparing us to kill the wolf. Nobody's preparing men to face that dark pain, that darkness, that emotional fitness that we need to overcome depression. So the first stage that men are going to go through is the stage of a peasant, the peasant mentality, the victim mentality. The victim mentality is telling the world that they're wrong and you're right. That always somebody else is the reason why you're going through what you're going through. It's not until you overcome the peasant mentality, realize that, man, I have to get my life together. I have to go through this pain to overcome. And that's the moment that you step into the warrior mentality. And the warrior mentality is when you start taking your skills to the next level. That's the moment that you start working on your craft, working on your skills to find your gift. See, society worships the warrior mentality. You see it in magazines, you see it in movies. Every single man wants to be a warrior. Every single man wants to be strong. I see, the moment that you become the warrior, eventually, the next stage is a sedated warrior. Because being a warrior is not sustainable. Hustling every single day, trying to make money and trying to succeed in life becomes exhausted. That's what happened to me. I was a warrior for a long time, and the reason that I was having those pains is because I wanted a deeper purpose in my life. I wanted to do something different, but I was so stuck in the warrior mentality that I refused to break through. And that's the reason I stepped into the sedated stage of the warrior. And that's when a man has to find out who truly is. Because the sedated warrior enters the tunnel. That's when uncertainty creeps in. That's the moment that you're unfocused. That's the moment that you have low energy. That's the moment that you feel disconnected. That's when you question your purpose. That's when you feel alone. And see, most people right now are not talking about this tunnel because they want to be warriors. They want to pretend that everything is fine. They want to pretend that nothing is going on inside of them instead of looking deep inside and making the choice to face the darkness. See, I believe the tunnel is the rite of passage for every single man. Just like I said before, now back in the tribal days, you had to go through the wilderness to be worthy of being a leader. Now you have to go through the tunnel in life to be able to be a leader. And that's the moment that you find your edge. Because the moment that you find your edge, you rise as a king. The king mentality is a man who has a purpose, the man who's driven, the man who's creating an impact, the man who wants to create a legacy in his life. What creates a king is somebody who lives on the edge. And I broke it down into 4 different areas. Number 1 is energy. You have to have the energy. You have to feed your body. You have to make sure that every single day you're mindful of the energy that you exude through people. The second is you have to be determined to fulfill your mission, determined to fulfill your dreams, determined to be able to conquer your demons. The third is to be guided, to live for something bigger than you, to believe that you have a deeper purpose. See, that's most men don't want to be guided. Most men want to be leaders, but they don't want to be followers. And the fourth is execution. You have to be willing to execute. You can't make excuses about why you're not doing the things that you want to do. The moment that you execute, it's not about perfection, it's about creating progress. Because I believe that a man who lives on the edge, a man who has the edge, knows how to create his energy, how to be determined, how to be guided to execute. And there's 3 ways that I've learned that a man finds the edge. Number 1 is association. Who are you surrounded with? Who is sharpening the edge? Are you surrounded with people who have a peasant mentality, who are always victims of the circumstance, or are you surrounded with people who are going to uplift you, are going to call you to a higher standard? Number 2 is accountability. Who's holding you accountable? Who's helping you see the things that you need to do? The moment that you are accountable to others, that's the moment that you're actually going to be able to show up more than you show up alone. And the last is a simple action plan that's intentional. Every single day is not about having perfection. It's about creating the 1% rule. How can I get better by 1%? How can I get stronger for 1%? How can I get wiser by 1%? How can I execute and learn by 1% every single day? Association, accountability, and action plan is what gives each man the edge. I want you to ask yourself 4 questions to help you get out of the depression and that anxiety to be able to, for you to find the edge. Number 1 is, what is the life that you want to create? Because the moment that you are clear about what you want, that's the moment that you start getting out of your head in the depression state or the anxiety state, and you start looking outside and say, what can I create? What do I want? What's possible? The second is, why? Why do you want to do it? I believe that a lot of men lose the edge because they forget why they do what they do. That's what happened to me. I forgot why until my son was standing in front of me. I remember why I do what I do. The third is, who will suffer if you don't do it? Who will suffer if you don't pay the price? Who will suffer if you don't show up in life? Because that's what's going to give you leverage for you to find the edge. That's going to give you leverage for you to find the reason to conquer depression and anxiety and find the light at the end of the tunnel. And the last one, which is the most important one, is who must I become so I could conquer my darkness? Who must I become to be able to find the edge? Because that's the moment that every single day you're going to focus on becoming that version of yourself, that man, that woman, so to be able to lead with power. So my intention for you as you listen to this talk is to realize, number one, you're not alone. We all have our demons to deal with. We all have our darkness. Depression is a silent killer. Number two, every single one of us are going to go through stages in life. Every single one of us has to face that pain in order for us to go to the next level. And number three is not about the journey, it's about who you become in the journey. Who you become in this journey is what matters the most. You're either going to be somebody's excuse or somebody's reason to level up. So my intention for you is to choose to conquer your tunnel, to choose to lead with power, to choose to be able to overcome whatever challenge you're going through. Because life is always giving you exactly what you need in order to grow, expand, and level up. Thank you for your time.